Hey guys, Ivan here, and we are 3 days post the 2025 Mr. Olympia, and in this video we got a couple of very interesting bodybuilding updates. So yesterday I made a video about Nick Walker, talking about how he mistreated his fans, flipping them off, also telling them to F off. Also, I mentioned that in my opinion, Nick may have been forced to compete at this year's Mr. Olympia, even though he didn't feel like doing it. And also, I said that there is radio silence from Nick and his coach, Kyle Wilkes. There was nothing yesterday when I was making my video. But like 10 minutes after I posted my video, Kyle Wilkes made a video explaining what happened. So it's a lengthy video. He basically gives us his Mr. Olympia recap, but he touches the subject of Nick Walker failing to deliver, his client, of course, and I'm gonna play a part of it for you guys right here.
Nick Walker and what occurred this past weekend. And the reality of it, for those that watched the show Friday, was clearly not the best Nick we have seen to date. It was not what we were expecting, nor was it what I truly desired as a coach. So the point of this video is to take full ownership of the peak being mistimed and therefore not presenting Nick to be at what he was fully capable of being. Now, as a lot of you have probably noticed the difference from Friday into Saturday, he presented a much cleaner Nick-like presentation on Saturday. However, the punch that we took on Friday was kind of one that we couldn't recover from in duty fashion when it comes to judging. With that said, there are a lot of variables, and I don't care to go into detail with this video, at least. I'm more than happy to. But the reality is there are a lot of different variables that are ongoing. Now, truth be told, the reason Nick and the timing was a little different compared to what we might be familiar with seeing at Pittsburgh, where I truly think it was the best Nick Walker to date, comes down to merely the fact that the show pre-judging was that night. This is my first experience and go around with Nick, as many will probably understand or know. And for those that don't, it's my first time having a competitor on the Olympia stage. So consider me a rookie when it comes to timing in that perspective. However, as we saw, we corrected rather quickly what needed to be corrected, and moving forward, we're simply back to the drawing board to ensure that this does not happen again. Nick, being the perennial athlete he is, took this one on the chin. Now, I know there are a lot of messages out there pointing to Nick not being at his best and it being more of his fault, but the reality is it's a two-way street here. I'm the coach. Nick is someone that is truly the best athlete you can ask for from a coaching perspective in bodybuilding. He does everything to the T. Nick, being the athlete that he is, as soon as we got off stage on Friday, we kind of regrouped emotionally, obviously both disappointed, and Nick, being such a fantastic athlete, simply said, tell me what I need to do to be better for tomorrow, and let's do it. And sure enough, again, I think pictures don't even do it justice, the transformation that we had in just a short period of time. So, moving forward, I don't think I make the same mistake twice. However, I'm not asking for forgiveness, nor am I asking for any sympathy for those that are attacking Nick. It's just more so me pointing out and taking ownership for something that is under my control.
Oof, all right. I have to say right off the bat that I disagree. And what I'm about to say comes from the best place possible. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of Nick Walker, and I want to see this guy do his absolute best. I had him winning the Mr. Olympia the entire prep, like the last couple of months. I really wanted to see him win. However, he failed, and I don't think this explanation makes a lot of sense. So what Kyle says basically is that the reason why Nick looked so bad was the peak week mistake. And he says it's a peaking mistake, so I was thinking maybe he talks about just like the timing of the conditioning, but then he talks about it's basically him not being adjusted to these kind of shows, 2 days shows when the prejudging is at night. So he basically says that he mispeaked Nick on that day, and he corrected a mistake for the finals, for the next day. So he doesn't think Nick's conditioning was bad, it was just the peak week, which means he wasn't dehydrated properly or carved up properly. I completely disagree with that. Why? Well, because here is a photo of Nick at 1 week out of the Mr. Olympia. Did he look like he was super shredded at this point and that it's only a peak week that went wrong? No. No, man. He was 7 pounds heavier for the Mr. Olympia compared to Pittsburgh and New York. Is it really possible for somebody to gain 7 pounds of muscle in a couple of months? Even if it is Nick Walker we're talking about. I mean, he's at a peak of his career. I don't know if it's possible for him to put on 7 pounds of muscle in a couple of months. I don't know if it's possible for him to put on like 3 pounds of muscle in a year at this point. But him being Nick, maybe he can do that, 3 pounds in a year. But 7 pounds of muscle in a couple of months, that's impossible. That's just impossible. And judging by this look right here, before his peak week started, you can see that he wasn't in shape, that he had some body fat to lose. This was great for 4 weeks out, but not for a 1 week out. And here is what he looked like at around 3 weeks out of the Mr. Olympia. And this looked good. If he continued pushing at this point, he definitely could have brought his absolute best. This right here is solid conditioning for 3 weeks out. But at this point right here, he was like 280. So what I would assume happened if this wasn't Nick, if this was just another bodybuilder, what I would assume is that he wanted to see that scale go up. That's very, very common with open bodybuilders, with these heavy bodybuilders. They want to be as big as possible, and they don't see any point in competing if they're not heavier the next stage compared to the previous stage. So I would assume that he thought he was 280 with good condition, and he can probably be on the stage at 270 and be in great shape, which was not the case. He needed to go down to around 260, so he made a mistake because he wanted to stay as heavy as possible. But if what Kyle says is true about Nick, that he is very coachable, that he does exactly what he's told by his coach, then I guess my theory doesn't make sense, but I honestly doubt that Nick doesn't have a say in this prep. I'm sure these guys talk, and that's also part of the reason why Nick hired Kyle Wilkes and not somebody like Chris Aceto, because he wanted somebody who is on a lower level so he can agree with them, make the decisions together, and it backfired. It didn't work well. That's what I think happened. But hey, let's say Nick didn't have a say in this. He just listened to the instructions of Kyle Wilkes, and it was Kyle who was, let's say, greedy and wanted to see Nick at 270 pounds with the same condition like at Pittsburgh, and it was all Kyle's mistake. But whatever it was definitely not a peak week mistake. It most certainly was a prep mistake, because if you are in good shape and you don't peak perfectly, you still don't have a double chin, man. What the hell? Nick definitely wasn't in condition, and it wasn't a peak week mistake. No way, man. No way. No way I can agree with that. But hey, that's Kyle's explanation, and people are saying that he is a class act, that he took responsibility, and that's a very good thing to do. I don't know, guys. I feel like he's just trying to take the heat off of Nick Walker because Nick is not handling this well. If that is the case, I respect that. That's really cool of Kyle, sure. But I really hope this guy actually sees what happened, because I want to see Nick do well. If Kyle thinks that it was only a peak week mistake, they're gonna try and bring Nick again at 270 and try to do a little bit of a different peak week, and what? He's gonna be fat again. No, come on, we don't want to see that. As you can see in the comment section, Nick says not done. I'm not sure if he's talking about just him not being done as a bodybuilder or about these guys' work that is not done. Like they're gonna continue prepping, maybe do the Arnold Classic or the Prague Pro or something like that. We'll see, but it seems like these guys are gonna stick together, keep working together, and that's great, that's awesome. They brought it really well for the Pittsburgh. That was the best Nick ever. So if they can replicate that for like the Arnold, that would be awesome. Nick would probably win the Arnold Classic, but if they think this is just a peak week mistake, then I don't think they're gonna bring that sort of a package again. Also, guys, it's really cool that Kyle is taking all the responsibility off of Nick, but really we are looking at Nick. We don't care about what his coaches are doing. He worked with Matt Jansen before, that went wrong, this went wrong now, so maybe it's actually something about Nick. And also, if he can't find a coach who's gonna pick him, who's gonna prep him well, and he listens to everybody completely, maybe he should actually have a say. Maybe he actually knows his body better than anybody else. Maybe he should actually prep alone. This way he puts all the responsibility on his coaches, they fail apparently, and he fails to deliver. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's happening. Maybe what Sean Ray said is actually correct. It's the pressure that gets to Nick, and for some reason, his body doesn't respond. Also, there is another theory, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. I've seen this happen before, so based on Nick's look, post the Pittsburgh Pro and New York Pro, it really looked like he didn't go off at all. You could see that Derek got a lot softer, Samson as well, Hadi too, Nick. It looks like he never stepped off that gas pedal. And maybe because of that, his body stopped responding at one point. Now, I don't think your body can just stop responding to gear, but it can get too toxic. And if it is too toxic, it won't respond well to anything. Training, food, gear, cardio, whatever. There is too much stress in his body. So in that way, indirectly, his body may have actually stopped responding to all the gear he was taking. That's a solid theory. But again, it has nothing to do with the peak week. It has to do with the whole prep. And again, do I think it's Kyle Wilkes' decision to do this? To never stop pushing the gear? I don't think so. I don't think Kyle should take all the responsibility. I think he's doing this just to protect Nick. I'm pretty sure that all the responsibility falls on Nick and Nick only. Yeah, sure, Kyle is doing his thing and he has a responsibility as well, a part of it, but really he's not the only person to be blamed here. I don't think he has too much power, actually, in this relationship right here. So I think Nick needs somebody, a coach that he's going to respect fully, and Matt Jansen is not that coach. That didn't work out well, especially because Matt lost interest in bodybuilding and prepping bodybuilders. Also because I think Matt Jansen's approach is very much old school. He kind of copied what Chad Nichols was doing and the other coaches that he worked with. So his approach works until it doesn't. I think what Nick needs is a new school coach, somebody with modern knowledge of prepping bodybuilders, but somebody who's also going to be an authority over Nick. Somebody that Nick is going to respect fully. If the coach says, stop all the gear, we're doing TRT or we're doing PCT, we're going completely off for 3 months, that he actually listens. If the coach says you're not going to be in shape at 270, you need to be 260 or 255 to be in condition, then he's going to go down to that weight. He's not going to insist on being 270 on stage. That's what Nick needs, and I don't know if Kyle gets the job done for Nick because he's only a couple of years older than Nick. I don't think he has the authority over this guy, and this sort of relationship, I don't think it works for Nick. I don't think it works with many bodybuilders, with most bodybuilders. So that's the way I see it, guys. You tell me whatever you think down below in the comment section, but that's my take. I don't think Kyle is the one to be blamed completely. I think he's just doing damage control because he wants to keep Nick as his client. He's taking all the fire away from him and putting all the responsibility on himself, but I don't think this is actually true. Whatever you guys think, once again, comment section down below. Alright, the next topic we got is Mike Sommerfeld. So, ever since the Mr. Olympia wrapped up, we have 0 posts from Mike. Not a single story, not a single post. Nick actually did post a couple of stories, resharing other people's stories with him, but Mike, nothing. Radio silence, complete radio silence. Not a single story has been shared, not a single post has been made. What the hell is happening with this guy? Is he okay? That's what I'm wondering. I'm really concerned about this guy. But I found a couple of stories on his wife's Instagram, and yeah, it seems like he's alright. He's enjoying food, he's eating. You can see him here in this story. I have no idea how he's handling this loss, especially after all the controversy about him and him having to make the lower weight and so much hate that he received online in the past couple of weeks. And then, as a cherry on top of the cake, he even loses the Mr. Olympia, in my opinion. Not rightfully, but yeah, he is not a Mr. Olympia. He lost again. Also, I think that this may have been a good thing that happened to him because I don't know how he would deal with the pressure of being number 1. Maybe he needed to be humbled down for a moment and then maybe come back next year and win. I think he can win. I think he actually won here I don't think he deserved to play second, but that's a different topic. Now, what we got today is something from Roman Fritz, another German bodybuilder who understands the fan base in Germany. And here is what he says about Mike and what people in Germany think about him right now at this moment. Of course, he speaks in German, but you have a translation here, so check it out, guys.
Deutschen Fans was gegen den Mike haben, ist für mich unglaublich. Also man muss ja nicht unbedingt Fan von Mike sein. So. Aber dann hält man halt einfach die Fresse. Fertig. Da muss man doch nicht so jede Gelegenheit nutzen, hier sein Telefon rauszuholen und unter alles, was mit Mike zu tun hat, irgendwas Negatives zu schreiben. Teilweise sogar auf Englisch und dann auch noch so richtig beschissenes Englisch manchmal. Damit ja alle wissen, dass man den Mike scheiße findet. So. Also, sowas gibt's wieder nur bei uns. Wirklich. Dass man einen sogar von den Besten auf der Welt in einer Sportart hat und trotzdem...
Alright, that's pretty heavy. Basically, people in Germany, bodybuilding fans from Germany, all hate on Mike. Even more so than the rest of the world, it seems like. They were all cheering for him to lose. Even though Germany would have a classic physique Mr. Olympia, German fans don't want to see Mike do well. They actually hate him so much. I don't know, man. If this is not a wake-up call, a call for a change, then I don't know what is. I mean, at this point, the whole world is against this guy, and the whole Germany. So he definitely needs to take a moment, look at what he's doing, look at his behavior, think about stuff a little bit, maybe start going to a therapy or, I don't know, do what Derek Lansford is doing, find God. I'm not sure what would work for him, but he needs to start working on himself. He needs to change. Definitely. Guys, like this is not working out. Maybe this actually is the reason why they didn't give him the victory. Because he's so hated. That's a possibility. I mean, personally, I don't think there are actual politics in the judging at the Mr. Olympia at that high of a level. I don't think I've noticed that over the past couple of years. I do think mistakes happen, for sure. That's always possible, especially with bodybuilding judging where everything is so subjective. You know, I don't agree with Ramon winning the Mr. Olympia, but hey, I'm still waiting for Tyler to make an explanation, so we're probably gonna get an explanation, but I don't know, like, I don't personally believe in politics, but maybe there actually are politics. I am not 100% sure that there aren't. Maybe this is the actual reason why Mike did not win the Mr. Olympia, even though he looked the best. Anyways, guys, we don't have anything from Mike yet. When he makes a statement, a post, a story, anything, I'll make a video about it. I'll tell you guys more about it. But as of right now, we have nothing. And yeah, I just hope this guy is gonna be okay these next couple of days. And he's gonna figure it out. Like he needs to work on some things for sure. Whatever you guys think about that, tell me down below in the comment section. Alright, and finally, we got some breaking news about Andrew Jacked. It was posted on the Muscle Discord Instagram account, and apparently Andrew Jacked is not done competing. He's gonna do a show on the 1st of November in Poland, and then he'll prep for the Arnold Classic 2026. I think this is an awesome news. How true is this? Well, apparently Muscle Discord posted this after Kamal El-Gargni confirmed it, and Kamal El-Gargni is a co-host on one of the shows that there are on the Muscle Discord YouTube channel, so yeah, this is true. Now, what I'm thinking is, if Andrew Jacked is competing in Poland, then why the hell wouldn't he compete at the Prague Pro as well? If he's staying in shape, he's not taking any time off after the Mr. Olympia, then why not just jump in and win the Prague Pro? If he brings the same conditioning, and at this point, it's difficult to lose this conditioning. He's already shredded. Yeah, he needs to peak again, but I'm sure Chris Aceto can do a good job with that. And he has Keon Pearson there, Martin Fitzwater, Krijo, And yeah, I'm pretty sure he can win the Prague Pro as well if he tries hard. It's gonna be a very popular show, and I'm sure the prize money is bigger than at this show in Poland. But we don't know that. That's just me assuming that he might do the Prague Pro. He didn't say anything himself. Maybe Kamal said this without Andrew's consent, I'm not sure. Because maybe Andrew wanted to make a surprise, at least with the Prague Pro. Also, I don't know if many other bodybuilders are doing that show in Poland, so that's gonna be an easy win for him. And there will be no pressure on him for doing that show. Also, Arnold Classic is not happening anytime soon, and once he confirms it, it's gonna be advertised, so he can't hide that away, but he might actually be doing the Prague Pro without telling anyone, just jumping in the last moment. That's a big possibility. But yeah, at least we know he's doing the Arnold. That's amazing, that's great news. Andrew Jack is posting a lot of stuff, guys, because obviously he's happy with taking the top 3 spot. He's talking about how he didn't expect this, he wanted to win. There are some arguments for him actually potentially being the best and actually winning the Mr. Olympia. We'll probably talk about that in another video. There are some arguments for sure, other than the side chest and maybe side tricep. There are pretty good arguments for him winning majority of the poses, but let's not make this video too long. It's already over 20 minutes, so we're gonna stop right here, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, guys, to my channel for the best content about bodybuilding on YouTube. And also, if you guys happen to need coaching services, you can DM me on Instagram at even bodybuilding coaching. Also, guys, if you want Blackstone Lab supplements, use the code EVAN for a 15% discount on everything you buy. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best and bye-bye.